Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's another good morning to talk about more things related to Nintendo, and specifically to talk about Kirby Air Riders. Now this is something I wanted to talk about before. I wanted to talk about this before the second Kirby Air Riders presentation, but we didn't have any confirmation if there was going to be a story mode other than that post ending of the first presentation where you get that mysterious character who falls from the sky, and he's all dark, and he's got one blue eye that's just lit up. Many people are speculating that that is a character known as Dark Matter. That's a villain from one of the older Kirby games. And if you actually look at one of the forms that Dark Matter takes on, it kind of does look like that character with the spiky hair and whatnot. So maybe that is Dark Matter. I think it probably is, because he definitely fits the description. But right now, guys, this is something that's been, ever since that trailer, ever since that game, I have been speculating to myself that this could actually be a sequel to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I actually think that this game is a sequel, at least the story, of course. The story mode is going to be a direct sequel to the events that take place in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, the reason why, of course, is, for one, Kirby was actually the hero of that game. If you guys remember playing the story mode of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where all of these giant, crazy and evil hands or whatever come, they start turning all of the main characters into statues. They turn Mario into statue. They turn Zelda, Link. They turn all of these characters, right, into statues. But Kirby is the only one who gets away. Kirby's the only one who gets away, and he ends up being the character that you play as in order to free everybody else. Now, of course, once you free each of the characters, you can play as those characters, but, Kirby is still pretty much the hero, because he's the one who didn't get captured, didn't get turned into a statue. He's the one who ends up saving the day. And even though, we don't really know who ends up beating the final bosses of the game, because it depends on who you play as, I think it's safe to say that, Kirby is the hero, and he's the one who saves the day ultimately. So I would think that this game might be a direct sequel to the events that take place. Now, even though the main villain at first was, all of those giant hands, Master Hand, Crazy Hand, and I think there was a giant light entity known as Galeem. Galeem was pretty much behind all of that. When you defeat Galeem, all of the light in the world or in the universe disappears, and that allows this other villain out there who's basically on the same level as Galeem, known as Darkon, I believe. Yeah, Darkon. It allows him to awaken, and then him and his his just evil darkness pretty much starts reigning supreme, and now you have to fight against him. Now you got to fight against this dark, godlike deity or whatever. And of course, it's like the game gives you the option to choose whether to get rid of the darkness or get rid of the light, right? Because now it's like, you have Galeem over here that has less power, but if you keep defeating all of these dark versions of Super Smash Bros. Characters, the light starts to take over again, and eventually, once you finish off Darkon and you fight him in a final battle, then pretty much he gets defeated, and Galeem pretty much, reigns supreme over him and whatnot. So what if the story of Kirby Air Riders is basically this villain from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate trying to get revenge? Because right now there's a lot of villains that are making a return to Kirby Air Riders. If you guys watch that presentation, they show off the verse boss mode, right? That's where you're fighting that robotic version of King Dedede. But if you pay attention, after they show King Dedede, that Robo King Dedede, they immediately show Nightmare, which was, I believe, the very first, Kirby villain. They show Nightmare. It's that big ball, purple ball with the yellow stars all over it. That's basically, Nightmare in his shell form. It seems like most Kirby villains, they all kind of did the same thing, where they start off as there's just a big ball, right? A big mysterious ball, and once you break through it, once you break that shell, it reveals the true identity of the villain behind that, like hiding inside that ball. So it did that with Nightmare, also known as Enemy, and he's also the main villain in the Kirby anime series as well. So it shows him, and then after that, it showed this big light lit up white ball with like red lasers coming out of it and everything. And that is a villain known as, what was his name? It's like 02 or something like that. 0.2 or 02, something like that. I can't believe I don't remember, but it was something zero. Anyways, this is a villain who apparently is a very, very powerful Kirby villain, like a universal level threat, I believe. And whenever you, like his true form behind that giant ball or whatever is this, you know, big, giant, white, round creature that just has one eye that bleeds blood, that literally cries blood. So it's just this big, terrifying entity of some kind, and that's a villain who apparently was defeated by Kirby, and yet here he is making his return as well. And then of course, at the very end of the second Kirby Air Riders presentation, we see Nova. Now Nova was that giant planet-sized villain with the cat-looking face. Got the creepy-looking cat-looking face, and you see him slowly opening his eyes. That's the very last thing you see. I don't know if he's going to be a boss battle, or if he's too big to be a boss battle, and instead you have to race inside of him to defeat him. That's going to be pretty cool if that's the case. But, you know, this villain known as Nova, this planet-sized villain, a lot of people watching that were like, wait, how's he back? How is Nova back? He got destroyed by Kirby. Because I think Kirby punched, I don't know if it was Dark Matter himself, or no, it must have been Marks. I think it was Marks, which is one of the characters you could play as in Kirby Air Riders. He's that creepy looking dude with the, you know, he wears that like clown, that medieval jester hat. I believe you punched him into Nova in one of the Kirby games, which caused Nova to just completely explode. So that's pretty much how powerful Kirby is. But yeah, he was apparently just completely destroyed by Kirby, and yet here he is, just back intact, just alive again, and he's one of the, you know, really big Kirby villains out there, and people are like, oh, how's he, you know, how's he back? My theory would be that Darkon, probably after getting defeated by Kirby, probably does something to resurrect all of these old Kirby villains. Because, you know, these Kirby villains by default are dark. They're dark and villainous, right? Evil and whatnot. And this Darkon guy, who probably wants to get his revenge against Kirby, he probably resurrects them. In fact, this Darkon dude wouldn't have been a thing if Kirby hadn't defeated Galeen in the first place. And so by defeating Galeen, Kirby, you know, accidentally unlocked this dark villain from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, known as Darkon. And Darkon, I guess, after being defeated by Kirby, probably tries to get revenge by bringing these old Kirby villains back. That's going to be my theory. So I think that would be freaking awesome too. And it would make sense because literally this Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was the last game Masahiro Sakurai was working on. And when he was requested by Nintendo and HAL Laboratory to make this game, this new Kirby Air Rider game, he was literally finishing up the DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And so he probably thought, you know what? I'm going to make this new Kirby game, and I'm going to kind of make it like a direct sequel to this game that I'm finishing up right now. I think that would be freaking awesome. I think that would just be genius, and I think that's what he's doing. So this Kirby Air Riders game, when it comes to like the timeline or whatever, like I think it's going to be a direct sequel to the events that took place in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But I also think that it's going to be like, it's not going to be a sequel or a prequel to the original Kirby Air Ride game. Because the original Kirby Air Ride game, it didn't really have a story mode or anything like that. It didn't have a story mode, but this game, this new Kirby Air Riders game, it does have a story mode, and it has an origin story as well. It has an origin story where it's talking about how all of these vehicles and machines just fell from space, fell from the skies, and whenever these characters would touch them or whatever, they'll be able to ride them. So obviously this game cannot really be a sequel to the original Kirby Air Ride if this is going to show us like the story of how they got these machines, right? So it might be, it literally might just be in the same exact time frame as the original Kirby Air Ride game, which would be awesome and which would make sense because they're bringing back all of the original courses as well. They're bringing back Top Ride also. So it would make sense that this game is basically in the same time period as the original Kirby Air Ride game, which is just awesome to me. And it's also supposed to be a direct sequel to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which would also be just freaking insane. That would be really cool. That'd be cool if Darkon does make an appearance and you have to fight him. He's one of the guys you gotta fight. So yeah, I'm wondering though how many of the Kirby villains are gonna make their return, because again, they showed us a few, and it's really big major villains. Okay, Nightmare, .002 or whatever he's called, the Nova guy at the very end. All right, they're showing us some pretty major villains, so you know what, they might have all of the villains come back, and that would be so freaking cool. You're going through boss mode or whatever, and you're fighting against these villains, and they just get harder and harder depending on which one is canonically, you know, the most powerful. Now, according to most, you know, Kirby experts, I think the most powerful villain is Void Termina. And that's because Void Termina, he was literally born of the same god that Kirby was born from. And that same god being a character named Void. So Void is like the god of the Kirby universe. And born out of him was Kirby and Void Termina. And Kirby, of course, being like the happy, positive version, and Void Termina being the very dark and evil version. And many people say that he is the most powerful of all Kirby villains. A lot of people also talk about Magolor being an extremely powerful Kirby villain, but in this game you play as Magolor. He's one of the playable characters, and yeah, I'm not sure if there's going to be any fighting against Magolor himself if he's one of the playable characters. Maybe he is. Maybe he's going to be one of the bosses, and you know, he's going to be on his, you know, his spaceship. I forget what he calls it. What was that Magolor spaceship called again? It wasn't it called like the... Man, what was it called? Like some kind of like... I don't remember. Anyways, it has a pretty cool name. But Magolor, he might be a character you could only unlock after defeating him. Who knows? That would be really cool. That would be really cool. And maybe all the other Kirby villains, you know, you only get to play as them once you defeat them in this road trip story mode. So I'm really excited for this game, guys. I'm really excited. I do think it's going to be in some way a direct sequel to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It definitely seems to be either a prequel or just on the same exact time period as the original Kirby Air Ride game. I think that's what it's going to be. And I can't wait to see all of the villains. Now, if there are any Kirby experts and Kirby enthusiasts out there who are extremely well known with the lore, who know everything about Kirby, the lore and everything, all the characters, all the villains, please leave comments in the comment section below and tell me, educate the rest of us on about these Kirby villains, and who do you think is going to make their return? How many Kirby villains are there? Because there's a lot. Some people have the misconception that one of the Kirby villains is that tree, which, yeah, he's one of the Kirby villains, but he's just a big old tree that's usually easy to beat. He's not really that serious of a villain. Like, he's never really like the main villain of a Kirby game. He's usually just one of the first guys that he's one of like the first bosses that you fight. So that's a big misconception, I guess, among people who aren't really well familiar with the Kirby franchise. But I want to know who are all the big powerful villains, and do you think they're all going to come back? I mean, if they have, you know, Enemy, aka Nightmare, 02 or .0, whatever his name is. I hate the fact that I'm not remembering his name right now. Something 02 or whatever. I think it's 02. Zero Two coming back, and then Nova. Like, they're having so many of these big villains coming back. Do you think that every single Kirby villain is gonna come back? You know, maybe not all of them, like that cheetah or whatever from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Like, I don't see her being like a villain, but I do see the big giant gorilla coming back or whatever, because he's like a really big villain to fight. The big lion, I forget his name, damn it, forgive me, but yeah, I forget the name of that lion, that big lion dude. He was another strong one. What about there's the villains from like Planet Robobot, Kirby Planet Robobot, which I'm playing through, by the way, on my 3DS. Like, I literally bought the game for the 3DS like months ago, just, you know, in lead up to this game. There's that villain. Man, there's just so many freaking Kirby villains out there. It's insane. And a lot of them are just insanely powerful too. They're like universal level threats, literally universal level threats. They are just that big and that dangerous. Even Magolor himself, I believe, was capable of taking over the entire universe. So I really can't wait for this game, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think that this game will be a direct sequel to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Do you think every single villain is going to make his return? Do you think Darkon is going to be behind all of this? Do you think we might get... I don't know if we're going to get cameos from other games or whatever. No, I think it's all going to be Kirby characters. Do you think every single Kirby character is going to be in this game? I think so. I definitely think so, because you know what? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Sakurai was able to jam-pack that game with so many characters, and characters from other video games. That's much harder to do than just characters from that specific game. Characters that are only owned by Nintendo and HAL Laboratories. So I can see him easily bringing every single Kirby character as a playable character in this game, every single villain. Again, that's something that is way easier to do than like the big crossover game where you're getting characters from Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, and all these other third-party games, right? All these other third-party studios. So I think Masahiro Sakurai he's gonna make this the ultimate love letter to Kirby fans. He's gonna bring all the Kirby fans, because don't forget, Masahiro Sakurai, he stopped making Kirby games after the original Kirby Air Ride game. It was after the original Kirby Air Ride game that he just started focusing on making Super Smash Bros. Games. And this, so many people have wondered if he actually even loves Kirby anymore, in the sense that he even loves like all of the Kirby characters that have been invented and created by HAL Laboratory ever since he departed from HAL Laboratory and started his own, development studio called Sora. So, obviously, Masahiro Sakurai thankfully proved everybody wrong, showing that he does love Kirby. Kirby is still his little baby, and he's showing everybody that he actually loves the new Kirby characters as well. He's bringing back everybody, even the new characters from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So yeah, I can't freaking wait for this game. I can't wait to experience all of the lore of Kirby. And I feel like this game's going to be designed to basically educate us on Kirby, on the Kirby universe, while also just being one of the most fun freaking games you could ever play. This is going to be the best game of 2025, guys. I still want Donkey Kong Bonanza to win Game of the Year, just for the simple fact that I am a Donkey Kong fanboy. He's always been my favorite character. Ever since I was like just a freaking toddler crawling on the floor, I remember seeing him on the original Mario Kart cover of the original Mario Kart game. And I remember saying, "Oh, look, a gorilla, big, strong gorilla." And I remember just playing as him because just like, oh, it's a cool gorilla. I even wanted a pet gorilla when I was that young. I wanted a pet gorilla who would be my best friend. So Donkey Kong, he is my favorite. I do hope Donkey Kong Bonanza wins Game of the Year. But at the same time, I could totally see this game being the Game of the Year just because of the amount of content that is just jam-packed in it. There's no other game like this right now. None. You're not going to find another game out there that has this much content packed into it, that has this much replayability. This is truly going to be a game of the decade. It's going to last a decade. And I do have confidence that if it sells very well, like 10 million copies or more, but then the sales kind of dwindle, I am confident that Nintendo's going to persuade Masahiro Sakurai to add more DLC content to it. They're going to say, hey, I know you weren't planning on adding more to it, but the game did very well. We want the game to have more life put into it. You know, please, you know, consider adding some more content to it. This is our biggest game right now. We are really high on this game. Let's renew people's interest into this game so it could sell more. You know, let's create some tournaments. Let's create more tracks. Yeah, more tracks, maybe some more modes if possible. Extend the story mode or something. They will definitely do that. And you guys got to remember, Masahiro Sakurai, he didn't say definitively that he was not going to do anything else with this game. I know he said he doesn't. He basically just said he doesn't plan on making DLC. Keyword, doesn't plan on it. Okay, not so that's something that you got to really consider. He didn't say I'm not going to make any more DLC. I'm not going to make this an ongoing series. Didn't say anything like that. He just said he doesn't plan on it. So that means there's still a chance that could change. That could easily change. And I think Masahiro Sakurai is one of those guys saying, yeah, I put everything into this game, so I don't really plan on adding more. And he ends up adding more. I believe that's what he did with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is just so freaking awesome, you know. And, you know, if Nintendo really loves the game, they're going to pay him. They're say, hey, we'll pay you a lot right now to add more to this game. And he usually does it because he just loves making video games. He loves making fans of a video game, of a franchise, happy. And I mean, look, this is the guy who, like, he could have left out Top Ride, but he didn't want to do that. He was like, nope, I'm bringing Top Ride back because it doesn't matter if there's only 100 people who played that mode and loved it and the rest of the 1 million players didn't like it. No, Masahiro Sakurai is like, I care about everyone who played the game, even if it's just one person in the whole world that enjoyed Top Ride and loved it. I'm gonna bring it back for that person, and I'm gonna improve upon it so that way everybody else who didn't like it, they're gonna enjoy it as well. You know, I just wish more people had this 3-dimensional mindset. So many gamers now are just stupid. Like, they have a 1-dimensional mindset where, well, this mode wasn't that popular, so therefore it makes no sense to even bring it back. You know, that's just how stupid most gamers are. But Masahiro Sakurai, thankfully, he's the kind of guy that's like, I don't care what the majority of people say, I'm bringing it back because there are other people who enjoyed it. And I wish more people thought that way. So yeah, God bless Masahiro Sakurai. What a great guy, what a legend. Truly the Hercules of the video game pantheon. Shigeru Miyamoto is the Zeus of gaming. Masahiro Sakurai is the Hercules of it. He is definitely a legend in his own right. He's one of the best today. He's way better than that piece of crap Hideo Kojima. Let's just say that, all right? Let's not beat around the bush. Hideo Kojima absolutely sucks. He's a bum. He makes cinematic experiences, and that's it. Masahiro Sakurai, he makes real freaking video games. Can't wait for this video game to come out. I'm predicting it's going to do 7 million copies in like a week. I'm really high on this game because it looks that freaking fun. And anybody who's not interested, you're not even a gamer to me. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about everything I went over, everything that I covered. Do you think that we're going to see these awesome characters, every single villain make their return, every single character? Do you think this will be a direct sequel to the events that took place in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? And do you think that if this game succeeds, it will get more DLC content? It will get more added content in order to keep the game fresh and alive, in order to keep renewing people's interest in it. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. You all take care. See ya.